Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt fired up about a goal one week, only to lose steam the next? You start strong, you have the vision, but somewhere between the to-do list and the distractions, it just slips. You're not alone. That doesn't mean you're lazy. It means you're human. And being human means we don't just need goals, we need focus. Clarity kills confusion. When your destination is precise, every decision you make becomes obvious, every step gains intention, and every distraction fades. Understanding exactly what you're chasing means having a vivid picture of the end result, how it feels, who you become, what shifts in your life. That mental image becomes magnetic, drawing your energy, attention, and action in a single direction. Without that clarity, intentions scatter, efforts weaken, momentum dissolves into noise, and progress becomes an accident rather than design. You might think that simply stating a goal is sufficient, but vague ambitions like be healthier, build a business, write more, lack gravitational pull. You need specificity. How much healthier? Which market are you targeting? How many words per day? Defining measurable benchmarks transforms abstract hopes into concrete challenges. It converts I should into I will. When that shift occurs, the brain organizes around achievement. It filters tasks, avoids pointless activities, and rejects anything that doesn't advance the mission. Imagine waking up each morning knowing the exact purpose in your sights. That certainty allows your mind to operate like a laser. Every choice, what to eat, where to invest your time, whom to engage, what content to consume, becomes aligned. No more second guessing. No more unnecessary detours. That sharp focus emerges only when the endpoint is unmistakable. In contrast, ambiguous targets scatter mental energy. The mind flits from app to app, from idea to idea, seeking meaning but landing everywhere. But when the objective is clearly defined, your attention locks on. It's what successful individuals do. They eliminate confusion by being exact. Beyond focus, clarity builds confidence. When you know where you're headed, uncertainty loses its grip. The past mistakes, false starts, outside opinions loses its power. You become anchored in your own internal alignment. That sense of direction nurtures bold decisions. You commit wholeheartedly because you trust your internal vision. Hesitation subsides, self-doubt shrinks, and progress becomes process. Each action flows from that deep clarity, and doubts are met with evidence. You see consistent forward movement. Clarity also generates momentum. Small wins add up when the path is unambiguous. Each minor success bridges the gap between where you are and where you aim to be, and those micro steps reinforce your commitment. The brain thrives on feedback loops: win, celebrate, repeat. Clear targets produce visible signs of progress quickly. Otherwise, when you chase fog, victories remain elusive, morale dips, and keeping momentum becomes a struggle. In practical terms, clarity demands precision. If your aim is financial, to earn a certain amount, state the figure, timeline, and method. If health is the priority, define metrics: weight, body fat, daily habits. If growth is the focus, outline required skills and measurable progress indicators. Those concrete definitions provide a roadmap. With such structure in place, every morning becomes purposeful. Tasks, exercises, content consumption, habits, all geared toward achieving that destination. Clarity also filters distractions. When your target is narrow and meaningful, you naturally disregard anything that doesn't contribute. Your brain asks, is this aligned? If not, it drops it. Over time, that selective filtering becomes instinct. And as you reduce clutter, physical, digital, mental, the signal increases and the noise disappears. Another dimension: clarity makes communication easier. When your goal is well defined, you can articulate it succinctly to others. That alignment brings support, accountability, and collaboration. People who hear your direction can either help or step aside. There's no confusion. Conversations become purposeful. Inputs become applicable. Your network shifts from spectators to allies because they understand the why and the what. Furthermore, clarity transforms ordinary routines into strategic rituals. When you know exactly what you're aiming for, you can design habits, environments, and schedules that reinforce that aim. It turns randomness into routine, randomness into repeatable actions, and over time those habits become identity, who you are. You begin to think, behave, and perform as the person who already possesses what you're chasing. It's worth noting, clarity is not a one-time exercise. It evolves. As you learn more and make progress, refine the picture. Exactly, progress and feedback inform adjustments. Your view deepens. Your aim sharpens. Iteration across time deepens control. Each adjustment brings greater alignment, greater speed, greater precision. Also, clarity reduces anxiety. When everything feels vague, your resources fragment. Worry starts. You feel behind, overwhelmed, stuck. But when the goal is fixed and measurable, anxiety transforms into organized strategy. You run experiments, measure, calibrate. You know what success looks like and what failure truly means. That structure lessens existential stress. It grounds intentions in tactical reality. Now let's talk about alignment. Clarity empowers alignment across life domains. If your career, relationships, health, learning all funnel toward a singular vision, you eliminate internal conflict. Every area supports the other. Different parts no longer compete for attention. You make integrated choices. You avoid the burnout that comes from misaligned priorities. Having one crystal clear endpoint allows other domains to harmonize around it. And clarity resists pressure. When doubts arise, critics speak, setbacks hit. If your target remains clear, it becomes a mental anchor. You return to the definition. You return to the evidence of progress. You stay firm, because what you're doing is anchored in clarity, not emotion. That stability sustains motivation even when external noise rages. It's vital to mention vision boards, mission statements, affirmations. These tools work only when grounded in specificity. A vague manifesto won't hold you accountable, but a board filled with exact images, numbers, milestones, timelines, now that's magnetic. Every glance confirms where you're steering. Every reminder sharpens the focus. Let me challenge you. How clear is your goal? Write it out publicly. Define your timeline. Identify signals of progress. Plan the first few steps. Envision not just the result, but the journey, how you'll feel when you achieve it, how others will respond, how life will change. The emotional context intensifies the magnetic pull. With clarity plus emotion, your focus becomes inevitable. Remember, uncertainty is the enemy of momentum. Without a clear target, every obstacle becomes reason to stall. But with a sharply defined goal, obstacles become tests, problems become puzzles, resistance becomes context. When you know exactly where you're going, disruption becomes information, missteps become course correction. Focus emerges when clarity kills confusion. That's the power of knowing exactly what you're chasing. It organizes your thoughts, aligns your habits, sharpens your routines, filters distractions, sustains your courage, and builds momentum. So spend time defining your goal with surgical precision. Paint the details, map the milestones, relish the clarity, and let it guide every decision you make, because once the destination is unmistakable, every step toward it becomes effortless. And now that your target radiates in absolute shape, realize this: distractions multiply rapidly. Anything pulling you sideways must be seen as a thief. Your mental presence isn't limitless. It weakens when divided, vanishes when ignored, and decays when borrowed. Every time you glance away, some of that intensity dissolves. Therefore, cultivate awareness like breath, intentionally, steadily, persistently. Imagine a candle flickering in stormy weather. Each gust threatens extinction. That's attention. Light won't hold unless protected by design. Noise, temptations, constant interruptions, they serve as wind. Without a sheltering boundary, effort fails. You don't lose your potential. It leaks unnoticed, absorbed by countless insignificant matters. Every notification rings like a siren. Platforms compete for eyes, each algorithm engineered to hijack impulse. You check once, then it's 10 minutes gone. One scroll leads to loops of stimuli. These are traps. Escape begins with recognition. Not all input deserves entry. Not every demand requires response. Selectivity becomes power. Energy travels where permission flows. If unchecked, surroundings dictate rhythms. That's dangerous. To operate effectively, set the terms. Begin by choosing environments. Walls influence behaviors more than intentions do. If your surroundings drain you, they dictate outcomes regardless of will. Fortify spaces with simplicity, clarity, focus. Next, inspect routines. Are you reinforcing presence or perpetuating fatigue? Mornings can ignite or smother clarity. Screens before stillness dilute purpose. Movement beats stagnation. Planning crushes chaos. Start strong. Outcomes echo that beginning. You own your ritual, or it owns you. Mastery favors intention. Noise hides inconvenience. Easy doesn't equal useful. Fast doesn't mean efficient. When everything offers comfort, discipline fades. Pursuit dies quietly behind excuses. If you're too comfortable, progress sleeps. Create friction where temptation thrives. Make drifting inconvenient. Set rules, rigid ones. That rigidity ensures freedom on your own terms. Refuse reactive living. Stop letting external voices steer your choices. Your direction must be driven from within, not pinged into being by digital demands. Shut off what doesn't serve. Not tomorrow. Now. That silence carves space for deep thought. That quiet becomes fuel. Stillness births insight. Saying no is preservation. It doesn't display selfishness. It proves seriousness. Every invitation request, opportunity carries a cost.
Without refusal, you accumulate obligations that dilute purpose. Guard your time like treasure. Each hour matters. Be ruthless in defending it. Look deeper into personal circles. Who do you allow into your energy field? Associations influence mindset. Some individuals feed your drive. Others, though pleasant, introduce doubt. Be wise. Surround yourself with voices that uplift determination. Validation is not the same as alignment. Favor those who challenge you to ascend. Track consumption. Every book, show, article, podcast subtly affects emotional direction. Garbage in equals confusion out. Curate your inputs. Choose quality. Feed growth. Avoid noise masked as knowledge. Protect your intellect from dilution. Garbage multiplies if unattended. Prune your intake. Split attention achieves nothing lasting. Multitasking shatters efficiency. One objective deserves full commitment. One thing at a time completely. Half-done efforts compound into regret. Focused effort builds tangible momentum. When submerged in one direction, brilliance manifests. Control is earned through constraints. Limits might feel uncomfortable at first, but they nurture commitment. Try timed sessions. Try focused sprints. Test boundaries. Train your mind to endure discomfort without fleeing. Practice enduring boredom. It often precedes breakthroughs. Do not fear monotony. Embrace it. Disconnect intentionally. Go offline often. Recharge away from pixels. Let yourself breathe unfiltered air. Nature resets focus. Real-world interactions ground presence. Step outside. Pause, feel moments unmediated by technology. There's clarity in silence unshaped by artificial feedback. Visual triggers mold action. What you see repeatedly becomes instruction. If your surroundings suggest laziness, motivation fades. If you're bombarded by clutter, your thoughts mirror chaos. Curate your view. Leave only what supports discipline. Remove reminders of indecision. Command your visual space. Your calendar speaks truth. Are you scheduling your priorities, or reacting to urgency? What gets a time slot gets attention. What you delay disappears. Want lasting results? Block time. Treat these blocks as sacred. Don't reschedule growth. Guard mental boundaries. Comparison is poison. Constantly watching others distracts you from your own lane. Social timelines don't reflect reality. Everyone posts highlights. You live behind the scenes. Stop measuring your path using other snapshots. Your timing is yours alone. Boredom is not failure. It's a sign of depth. In stillness, focus sharpens. Learn to sit with silence. Wait longer before seeking dopamine hits. The longer you resist cheap rewards, the stronger your endurance becomes. Endurance outlasts impulse. Master that gap. Every habit reinforces identity. When you repeatedly choose intentionality over impulse, you become someone who controls outcomes. Every choice whispers, "This is who I am." Build an identity rooted in control, not chaos. Action is the architect of belief. Identity follows behavior. Design reminders for return. You will drift. That's normal. But have anchors in place. Words, visuals, quotes, tools. Let them realign your path. Redirection matters more than perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. Real success comes from realigning again and again. People often say they lack time. Rarely true. What's lacking is intention. Disorganization wastes more hours than effort ever will. Streamline tasks. Automate what doesn't require presence. Say goodbye to time sinks. Preserve peak hours for high-impact work. You'll find hidden time everywhere. Build checkpoints. Pause regularly. And ask, is this moving me forward? That question steers clarity. That honesty reroutes wasted effort. Evaluation without ego accelerates excellence. Adjust as needed. Let feedback shape refinement. Practice immersion. Dive fully. Remove all side paths. Let deep effort stretch limits. Uninterrupted dedication rewires brain patterns. It strengthens neural networks tied to progress. That's how greatness forms. Not in casual attempts, but through undistracted immersion. Develop rituals before focus. Create simple cues that signal deep work. Specific lighting, sounds, scents, postures. Anchor your body into readiness. Pavlov trained dogs. Train your mind. Predictable setups yield consistent states. Make starting easy. Make escaping difficult. Stop waiting for ideal moments. They rarely come. Begin despite chaos. Begin despite tiredness. Begin even while uninspired. Motion invites clarity. Starting stirs action. Progress emerges during struggle, not comfort. You are not a machine. You're a builder. Construct regardless of noise. And when temptations whisper, remember your future. Remember what matters. Speak your vision aloud. Let it echo louder than the seduction of ease. The harder path builds pride. Discipline feels hard now, but peace follows. Regret feels easy now, but cost comes later. If necessary, remove yourself physically. Change scenery. Walk. Reset posture. Relocate temporarily. Often a physical reset stirs mental clarity. New locations disrupt stagnation. Movement sparks reactivation. Hold yourself accountable. No one's coming to save your dream. Blame burns time. Responsibility builds movement. You're not behind. You're one decision from progress. Ownership over delay. reclaims control. Excuses expire once you begin. There is power in choosing where your gaze rests. Focus shapes future. Attention births direction. Let nothing steal your fire. That flame, though fragile, fuels your journey forward. Bright, burning, relentless.
You'll realize that enthusiasm alone doesn't sustain sustained pursuit. That initial spark blazes then fades, but consistency thrives when backed by structure. Motivation ignites when energy erupts, yet discipline maintains when emotion subsides. Establish habits designed deliberately, ones initiating regardless of feeling. Those routines become reliable companions. When emotion dwindles, schedule steps nonetheless. Visualize mornings where you commence precisely what matters before shifting attention anywhere else. Whether the body resists or reluctant surfaces, press forward with intention. That persistence solidifies character. With repetition across days, actions become reflex. Resistance diminishes because your system carries you regardless of mood. This is how outcomes emerge, not from bursts of energy, but from daily decisions taken even when desire retreats. Emotion will fluctuate. You might wake drained after restless sleep or weighed down by past setbacks, but structure persists. It welcomes fatigue and tames resistance. You don't rely on enthusiasm. Instead, you lean into a routine crafted ahead of time. That commitment eliminates reliance on whim. It replaces indecision with certainty. It anchors effort in a design that holds even when internal drive falters. Building this architecture takes planning. Outline sessions, allocate blocks for tasks, and treat those intervals as unmovable. Once carved, guard them fiercely. Do not let interruptions invade them. Even at moments when the mind protests, push through because future satisfaction depends on your discipline today. You're forging identity step by step, not chasing fleeting highs. Consistency breeds momentum. Each repetition compounds toward mastery. Beginners often believe that progress occurs only when energy peaks, but momentum stems from cumulative effort. Day 1 may feel stagnant, day 2 sluggish, day 3 just tolerable, but over weeks that effort coalesces into habit. Then performance becomes natural. You don't need to psyche yourself up. The systems push results, and once momentum builds, it self-propels. Expect days when energy wanes. Everyone experiences fatigue. That's not failure. That's opportunity to apply discipline. Choose action over paralysis. Choose routine over hesitation. Whether you feel strong or fragile, show up. Consistency isn't selective, it's total. It loves the times when motivation dies. That's where discipline dominates. Allow external factors to affect your system minimally. Distractions enter through old habits. You work long hours, skip rest, and emotional reserves drain. Without structure, frustration multiplies. But with a system, even disrupted days revert quickly because your protocol resets focus. Restore priority alignment. Let no deviation derail you permanently. Let your structure become non-negotiable. Create signals validating start, maybe specific clothing, music, locations. When you sense those cues, initiation becomes automatic. Over time, brain associates those stimuli with work state. Then decision-making energy conserves. You don't debate execution, you just do. Avoid equating occasional success with sustainable capability. Moments of high output can lull you into thinking effort depends entirely on mood. That's misleading. True achievement requires enduring low-energy days with the same level of intention as high-energy ones. When you train body and mind to act in absence of inspiration, you breed resilience. Resilience matters more than passion. Track progress discreetly. Without tracking, it's impossible to see trends. Small wins deserve recognition. They signal forward movement, reinforcing further effort. Acknowledge small advances quietly. They collect interest. Like drops filling a reservoir, micro-decisions accumulate. Eventually you pour substantial volume into life's reservoir of accomplishment. When fatigue threatens, shift intensity rather than stop. Scale volume temporarily instead of quitting. Lighten load but preserve sequence. That keeps rhythm alive. Discontinuity kills gains. Even reduced intensity preserves routine fidelity and maintains momentum. Show up in some form regardless of wattage. Let your environment support persistence rather than complicate it. If necessary, eliminate objects, apps, even routines that conflict with the structure you're building. When cues promoting distraction appear, remove them. If surroundings require adaptability, redesign them. Ease of work ensures continuity. Complication invites avoidance. During difficult stretches, remind yourself repeatedly, you're serving long-term. Instant gratification clings tightly, but discipline bridges short-term pain with extended payoff. Every time you resist impulse to divert attention, you're investing in future stability. Visualize rewards down the line. Imagine pride after thousands of small efforts aligned. That vision fuels perseverance when emotion withdraws. Over time you witness transformation. At first, beginning feels forced. Weeks later, continuation feels routine. Your brain rewires to expect execution automatically. Discipline retreats from sheer willpower into innate default behavior. You become a person who acts irrespective of whim. Whenever doubts arise, look back at track record. Evidence of consistency encourages further effort. When doubt emerges, consult your history. If you've performed despite fatigue, stress, interruptions, you can again. Let the archive of past acts stand as testimony. Your growth becomes self-confirming. Accept that some repetition may feel dull. That dullness is fertile. It builds bones of routine. Avoid chasing novelty at cost of continuity. Entertainment masquerading as productivity often leads into time voids. Discipline embraces repetition. It thrives in consistency. It doesn't need glamour. Expand focus gradually. Once initial routine feels secure, layer additional behaviors in adjacent areas, but don't overload. Expand slowly. Overaccumulation overwhelms. Consistent tiny additions compound better than massive leaps that topple. Growth flows best from sustainable expansion. Recognize boundaries. Set realistic expectations. If you overreach quickly, frustration follows. Discipline stands on sustainable challenge, not strain. Keep balance between stretch and sanity. Too much burden invites collapse. Discipline needs breathing room to endure. Establish occasional checkpoints. Reflect on whether your structure still serves advancement. Adapt but don't abandon. Flexibility keeps routine alive. Rigidity kills. But never discard core alignment. Adjust. Refine. Recommit. That keeps bridge between aim and action intact. Expect resistance. That's part of progress. It shows you're pushing boundary. Resistance might manifest in fatigue, boredom, distraction. These are signals to maintain course, not detours. Embrace resistance as indicator you're moving territory. Energy returns when persistence remains. Celebrate rituals. Reward small milestones with affirmation, though not indulgence. Quiet recognition builds internal reinforcement. Then you chase fulfillment through effort, not escape. Those tiny affirmations sustain morale. Morale fuels consistency. Equip mind with reminders when feelings slip. Quotes, cards, digital nudges, anything prompting momentum. When you sense lethargy, external cue can trigger action that maintains system velocity. You need scaffolding for days when you drift. Keep learning alongside doing. Read experiences of others behind structures they built. That insight supports your own formation. But avoid comparison. Learn, adapt, apply. Use insight to fortify, not confuse your system. Accept failure days. Some sessions may fail to perform. If so, return without hesitation. Skipping once doesn't break continuity if you resume quickly. Guilt belongs to abandonment, not to temporary breakdown. Discipline is reboot, not punishment. Let this become identity. A person who moves daily regardless of feeling. Over months that identity solidifies deeply. You behave not when inspiration hits you, but because structure commands it. That difference distinguishes achievers from aspirants. Every step compounds. Moments add. Behavior builds belief. System cultivates identity. Identity sustains action. Action accumulates result. That loop forms outcome. You don't need bursts. You need rhythm. So even when desire ebbs, continue. Whenever you doubt, follow plan. When comfort entices, choose structure. Let design triumph over whim. That's how you move past reliance on emotion and into control. That creates reliability, growth, and eventual fruition. The process becomes dependable only when patterns replace unpredictability. Chasing lofty outcomes without consistent mechanisms guarantees inconsistency. Ambitions mislead when they lack frameworks underneath. Aspiration alone seldom produces traction. Daily repetition rooted in structure grants endurance. Without mechanisms guiding execution, desires remain suspended, untethered from actuality. You must sculpt surroundings that steer action without requiring force. Rearranging external factors triggers effortless alignment. Automation emerges not from indifference, but from repetition. Simplify everything. Frictionless processes ensure sustainability. Action flows when effort is embedded within the design of your life, rather than demanded by mood. Consider routines as architectural blueprints. When constructed intentionally, they hold you steady through irregular tides. No storm topples foundations laid brick by consistent brick. Not every morning brings enthusiasm, but discipline encoded into behavior still propels you. Once reliance on feeling is replaced with process, results become inevitable. Each component of your lifestyle should serve function. Placement, order, access, timing, all should reinforce direction. Make decisions in advance, not in the moment. That removes doubt. Decide once, act endlessly.
When configurations support repetition, results multiply. Chaos demands energy. Simplicity multiplies bandwidth. Organize systems to eliminate choice where decisions hinder execution. Imagine evenings prepped for next day's requirements. Imagine meals structured to eliminate hunger-driven errors. Imagine communications batch processed. Imagine calendars fully blocking intention. Now you're not battling resistance, you're building immunity to it. Systems win, not through force but through elimination of obstacles. Make it obvious what's important. Visibility matters. Visual cues push memory aside. What you witness daily reshapes instinct. Remove hidden effort. Streamline cues. Tie triggers together. If movement follows reflection, attach those. If work begins after hydration, place water nearby. Sequence everything until thinking is unnecessary. Crafting reliable processes requires experimentation. What fits one journey might misalign with another. Personalization makes automation effective. Tweak timing, frequency, methods, run iterations. Evaluate returns. Keep only what functions. Drop inefficiencies quickly. Feedback provides fuel. Data from trials directs improvements. Don't expect perfection, anticipate course corrections. Plans made today may not work tomorrow. Flexibility strengthens endurance. Adjustments reveal resilience. Systems evolve as context changes. Stagnant processes suffocate progress. Periodically revisit every segment. Test for friction. Adjust accordingly. Evolution preserves relevance. Time isn't managed, it's distributed. Allocation demonstrates allegiance. Give space to what builds long-term traction. Shrink unnecessary activities. Replace passive entertainment with skill development. Substitution doesn't require sacrifice. It redefines reward. Growth becomes addictive when results speak louder than old habits. Avoid reinventing steps each cycle. Preserve mental fuel. Repeat proven frameworks. Decision fatigue kills potential. Structures save attention for breakthroughs. Creativity loves boundaries. Constraints unleash freedom when they eliminate ambiguity. Let rules guide so innovation focuses where it belongs. Rituals provide rhythm. Even mundane motions, if repeated, shape massive momentum. Tie behaviors to moments already certain. Wake, cleanse, write, move, reflect, sleep, stack them. Sequence transforms scattered effort into aligned momentum. Rituals replace strain with flow. You're no longer pushing. You're pulled forward. When struggle hits, check configuration first. Don't blame identity. Examine execution scaffolds. Most failures trace to lack of planning, rather than lack of talent. Audit friction points. Did you delay preparation? Skip checkpoints. Let noise enter unguarded windows. Systems degrade silently, unless maintained. Progress accelerates when accountability enters the frame. Track, record, observe. Measurement brings clarity. Numbers strip away excuses. Trends tell truths. Stories don't. Whether analog or digital, monitoring confirms momentum or its absence. Logs illuminate blind spots. Metrics aren't judgment, they're direction. Every process deserves reassessment. Every method deserves scrutiny. Are outcomes meeting benchmarks? Are timelines shortening? Is stress diminishing? Improvements reveal themselves in silence through results. Let feedback lead development. Always seek tighter alignment between goals and operations. Independence strengthens when structure thrives. Those who rely on external direction drift quickly. Internal frameworks designed personally, revisited often, build sovereignty. Freedom isn't doing anything. It's choosing everything deliberately. Systems deliver that liberty by removing reliance on fluctuating circumstances. Design controls cues. When you configure triggers, you control impulse. Whether it's environment, time, company, or sensation, triggers drive action. Don't let cues happen by accident. Engineer them. Attach behavior to unavoidable moments. When that link solidifies, consistency rises without demand. Templates create velocity. Whether crafting messages, launching tasks, or setting agendas, reuse formats. Familiarity shortens startup. Predictable beginnings invite momentum. Build once. Apply endlessly. Efficiency removes friction, leaving space for excellence. The more built in advance, the more execution feels effortless. Reliability trumps intensity. Daily execution, even at moderate effort, surpasses erratic bursts. Systems don't require greatness each time. They only demand consistency. That consistency compounds. Eventually it eclipses even brilliant sporadic attempts. Mastery emerges from deliberate durability. Use boundaries wisely. Constraints protect energy. Don't overfill schedules. Leave margin. Buffer zones absorb emergencies. Structure isn't rigidity. It's resilience. Systems should bend, not break. Durability depends on margin. Overloaded pipelines clog. Space grants longevity. Every action has origin. Trace habits backward. Ask what preceded this. Reverse engineer everything. Want a better evening? Check afternoon routines. Want smoother mornings? Reconfigure evenings. Systems cascade. One optimized input influences every downstream action. Eliminate dependencies. Wherever external permission slows momentum, replace it. Build autonomy. If completion requires others, minimize weight. Find alternatives. Build flexibility around bottlenecks. Seamless systems thrive independently. Interruption costs more than minutes. It fractures flow. Every detour exacts cognitive tax. Protect boundaries ferociously. Let nothing fragment intentional movement. Batch similar tasks. Create protected windows. Let others adjust. Your outcomes demand uninterrupted attention. Celebrate fluency. Reaching flow during repetition means your systems work. That ease indicates deep alignment. Friction has faded. You're inside the mechanism. Rather than performing each step manually, you're gliding through orchestration. Systems designed properly hum silently beneath excellence. Train anticipation. Predict failure points. If weather blocks outdoor practice, what's your alternate plan? If energy wanes midday, what's your reset ritual? If motivation dips Friday, where's your reinforcement? Anticipation stabilizes results. Reactivity risks derailment. Practice refinement. No routine deserves permanence without inspection. Audit steps. Challenge assumptions. Ask, is this effective, necessary, aligned? Question tradition. Just because something exists doesn't mean it belongs. Edit everything. Keep only essentials. Systems aren't glamorous. They rarely feel heroic, but behind every powerful result lies invisible repetition. Every extraordinary performance comes from ordinary routines executed relentlessly. That quiet grind isn't optional. It's fundamental. Remove it, and everything collapses. When architecture aligns with mission, execution no longer requires persuasion. You become a person who acts because their life demands it. There's no battle, no bargaining, just flow, not because it's easy, but because it's embedded. That's when goals stop feeling distant. Once systems carry execution, focus shifts. You stop asking, will I, and begin living, I am. The question disappears. Action remains. You've crossed the threshold from intention to identity. That transition marks the moment systems replace struggle.